And this is what will sit on the gnome body here. Okay, and you can see that it kind of drapes behind the little gnome body. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Okay, and now we're going to get started on the gnome body. To do this, you're going to take your ball of clay and make sure that you've got your mat cleared. And you're going to want to kind of get it into kind of like a little cylinder shape like this. You're going to make a pinch pot from this part forward. Now a pinch pot, the idea is that you make a well in the middle and then you use pinch motions to kind of make this pot come to life. Now I'm looking at the amount of clay I have here, and so basically if you size it up, what you're going to try to do is open this body of clay to be a little pot that your gnome sits right on, your gnome hat sits on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push my thumb through all the way so that there's a bottom. So right now the clay just has a hollow inside. I've pushed my thumb all the way through to the bottom. Some people say, how thick should my clay be at the bottom? So a good indicator is that your clay thickness should be about as thick as your pinky finger. So if you go down there and you're feeling around through that clay at the bottom, it should be about as thick as your pinky finger. And so now I'm going to start to kind of belly out that pinch pot, and I'm going to kind of try to bring it up a little bit. Now, I'll take a little piece of clay and I'll show you here. If I literally just pinch as hard as I can, it's going to flatten clay out in every direction. And sometimes we don't want that. We want to actually pull clay in a different direction. So as I'm doing this, I'm going to keep my thumb in place and pull that clay up with my fingers on the outside. So it's going to look kind of like this. Pull up, pull up. And what that's going to do is it's going to grow the body of my pot. I'll do one side so you can kind of see the outcome here. You see how it's growing one half? It's going to pull up the side. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do that. My thumb really is kind of staying as a foundation, and my outside fingers are really kind of pulling up on this. And I'm just kind of manipulating the clay until I get it to be, so it's a nice little pinch pot here, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of push down and get a nice flat bottom on this. So I'm pushing in the bottom. So I've got a flat bottom now, okay? Let's test out the size. So that's a good little gnome size right there. Now, the idea is, do you want to have kind of a straight up and down gnome body, or do you want to kind of have a round face? How do you want to do that? So I actually want to round mine out a little bit. So I'm just going to belly out my pot on the front where his face is going to go. Kind of see that happening there. And let me just see how this looks. Yep. That looks good to me. So there's my pot so far. I am going to want this to kind of curl, so I'm just going to kind of bend my hat a little bit so there's a little personality to it, like that. All right, so this is a good start. Now before I attach the hat to the body, I'm going to smooth the body out. Again, I've got my smoothing rib, and I'm just taking it, and I'm going to put my hands on the inside to support the walls, and I'm just taking this back and forth. Back and forth. Sometimes people like to use their fingers. You don't have to worry too much about this because you know what's going to go on the outside? A beard. Or if you want to make your gnome a little lady gnome, you can add kind of what you want to the face. All right. So this is what we've got so far. Got a smoothed out head. Got a little gnome hat. All right, this is where we're at. So here's the deal. I'm going to give a little firm squish squish so that it kind of makes touch points so I can see where my contact's at. So on the inside here, I'm not sure if this is going to show up, but on the inside I can kind of see where my touch points are at with my pot. And this is important. You want to know where that clay is making contact because we're going to do that score, slip, and squeeze method right now to attach our hat to the body of the gnome. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my scoring tool, and I'm going to fray up the contact points here. There's that. I'm going to take my scoring tool and I'm just going to fray up my contact points on the inside. So you can see I'm just fraying up the inside here. Okay, so do you remember the second step? Once we scored it, what do we have to add? That's right, we have to add a little slip. So I've got my container of slip, and we have to add slip to both parts that are getting put together. You don't need to drench this at all with slip, just adding a little moisture. All right. And now I'm going to take my hat, find the front of my gnome, and I'm going to bring it together. And I'm just going to do a little squeezy squeezy. Okay. And there is my gnome body and my gnome hat put together. We're almost done. Now that we have our gnome hat and body together, now it's time for the beard. So I like to put the beard on first and then the final nose. So I'm going to let this sit, kind of get a little firmer here. If you want to keep smoothing it out, you can smooth it out a little bit more. Like I said, the beard's going to cover a lot of this. All right, so I've got my gnome. And I said before, what you trimmed off probably is going to make a good beard shape. So I'm going to hold some of this up and see if it's a good beard size. And lucky enough, what I trimmed off actually makes a good beard size. So I'm just going to use my toothpick, or I can use the back of my paintbrush and just draw what I want to use for a beard. So I'm just going to trace a little beard shape. Perfect. And again, you can use your scoring tool as a cutter, or a toothpick, or your wooden tool. Here's my beard. All right, so we need to add some texture to the beard. What I actually am going to do here is I'm actually going to use the back of my paintbrush. It's a perfect little squiggly maker. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to start to make some beard squiggles. And they'll kind of overlap from time to time. So I finished my beard squiggles. And while I still kept this like clean edge here, I'm just going to start to kind of make the edge a little bit more organic looking, kind of like a beard. It wouldn't be all crisp and clean on the edge. So I'm just going to kind of poke in my, so now I've got this fun little kind of curvy edge here to the edge of my beard. And so to add that to my gnome, here's my beard. Okay, my little gnome beard. Fun little beard for my gnome. I can't just kind of plop it on because in the firing, if it's not secured right, it's just going to pop right off. So we have to follow that three-step phase again of the score, slip, and squeeze. So I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to trace where my beard is supposed to sit. Okay. And so I've got this little area here, and you got it. I'm going to take that scoring tool, and I'm going to score up this whole area. Okay. And we have to add slip to both sides. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add my slip. Now, I'm not trying to do brush. I'm just trying to lay the slip on. So it just kind of adds that moisture level so that it can kind of fuse back together. Again, I'm not drenching this. I'm just trying to get that moisture in on both sides. Like so. All right, so the slip's there. Now let's add our beard. So again, I'm going to put this right where I traced that spot. Okay. kind of meet it at the bottom there, kind of tuck it in so it doesn't create an overlap. And our little gnome is coming to life. I'm just gonna kind of make this edge a little bit more refined here. There we go. Our gnome has some personality. The hat has some personality. The beard, kind of like my beard, the way it kind of just sits. And now it's time for the nose. So I'm going to grab just a ball of clay. I'm going to make a little nose. And then you can make your nose as big or as small as you want. The big ones are kind of fun. And then you can always just pinch a little off, kind of see what's going to happen if you make it a little smaller. So there's that. That's cute. Yep, I'm good with that. So again, I can't just put it on there because when we fire these pieces, it's just going to pop right off. It's not attached. So I'm going to go once again, score it up. I'm going to score up where I'm going to put my nose here. Kind of dig that in. Add the slip to both sides. So I'm going to add slip to both sides. And then I'm going to just do a little snug. My cute little gnome. I gotta think of a name for my gnome. I think this one's gonna live in my garden this summer. So my gnome is here. And if you've been watching, I've just kind of just smoothed out some things. Just made sure all my seams are good. Everything's connected. Now, here's one talking point that we need to discuss about your gnome. When you have a hollow vessel in a kiln that heats up to about 2,000 degrees, air can get trapped inside. And if there's not a way for that air to escape, then it can blow up. And we don't want that to happen. So before you're done, at the back of your gnome, we just ask that you take your pen, your back of your paintbrush tool, and you just make a little air hole. And you can do it through the bottom as well. But we just want to make sure there's a way for that air to escape so that it doesn't blow up when we fire it. We will double check for this, but sometimes if you bring your clay back and it's too dry, we just want to make sure that it can do what it's got to do. In order to add color to your gnome, you're going to want to make sure that this guy has a little time to dry. If it's too wet and it's sticky on the surface like this is now, it won't take the underglaze real well. So I'm going to refer you to our underglaze tutorial on the tutorials website to follow those instructions on how to decorate your gnome with underglaze. All right, I hope you had fun, and I will see you in the next tutorial.